LBJ wanted a real war, but the resolution he had put to Congress had been shelved.
What I want is somebody that can lay up some plans to trap these guys and whip hell out of them, kill some of them. That's what I want to do.
I'll try and bring something back that will meet that objective.
After what he called an unprovoked attack, he got his resolution.
Congressional leaders of both parties supported the Gulf of Tonkin resolution. In fact, only 2 members of Congress voted against the resolution, Senators Morse of Oregon and Greening of Alaska.
Being in the minority never proves that you're wrong. In fact, history is going to record that Senator Greening and I voted in the interest of the American people this morning when we voted against this resolution. And I'd have the American people remember what this resolution really is. It's a resolution which seeks to give the President of the United States the power to make war without a declaration of war.
The Gulf of Tonkin resolution was not a declaration of war. There never was a declaration of war in Vietnam, but it served much the same purpose. The President was given broad powers to wage war. But what the Congress did not know, what the country did not know, is that the second attack in the Gulf of Tonkin may never have happened.
We now know beyond any reasonable doubt that it did not happen.
If one telegram, which we later found from Commander Herrick of the Maddox, had been made available to the committee at that time, I'm quite sure they would have had long hearings, gone into it thoroughly, and if they'd been able to discover the facts as they actually were, I don't believe they'd passed the resolution, because it was based upon absolutely false, erroneous information. The events as they related them of August the 4th, 1964 were not true. Our ships it was not an unprovoked, deliberate attack. In fact, there was no attack at all.
The captains in the Gulf reported what they were ordered to report.
It's also been suggested that Washington was putting a great deal of pressure on you to come up with some positive answers to what happened that night. A positive answer being, yes, we were attacked.
Well, I'm sure they needed one. And that's what we were trying to obtain for them, and we did, and sent it in.
The gunners shelled an empty Gulf.
Just above the bridge of the Maddox, where Captain Herrick was, is the main gun director. And inside the director was the sailor who was in charge of firing those powerful 5-inch guns. His job was to open fire once the enemy targets were spotted on radar or sonar. Those are the main methods for detecting targets you can't see directly. The man in charge of the main gun director, August 4th, 1964, was a 4-year veteran. He was also an expert sonar man, Patrick Park. Park is now a businessman in Los Angeles.
Tell me, do you think that night, August 4th, in the pitch black, in a heavy swell, rainstorms, was there anything to shoot at out there?
No, I don't. I'm certain that there was not anything to shoot at, right from the beginning. The captain asked me immediately after the attack to go down and evaluate all the recordings that had been made of noise that sonar was reporting. And I kept myself pretty busy for the next 3 days, really, trying to evaluate these things and determine if we had heard anything that might have been even a question mark, that it might have been a torpedo or anything else in the water not related to the 2 ships or noise of either one of them.
And what was your evaluation?
Absolutely nothing.
The pilots saw nothing. Before James Bond Stockdale became a North Vietnamese prisoner of war, or Ross Perot's running mate, he was flying air cover over the destroyers at the time of the alleged second attack.
In Stockdale's words, I flew so low there was salt spray on my windshield, and I still didn't see a thing. Meaning he never saw torpedoes or any evidence that the U.S. ships had been fired upon. The captain of the Ticonderoga's Attack Squadron 56, Commander Wesley L. McDonald, concurred. He didn't see anything that night, except the Maddox and the Turner Joy. After this flight, he and those in his command met behind closed doors, and each wrote accounts of what they did and did not see. Stockdale then locked these reports in his safe. The next morning, Commander James Stockdale was ordered to lead the first U.S. airstrike on North Vietnam.
I personally am convinced in my own mind that no attack took place on the 4th. But, of course, it's impossible, really, in a way, for me to prove a negative. I'll put it this way. They most certainly did not prove the affirmative case that there was an attack.
No second attack. And since that attack was the excuse that the president used to take the whole country to war in Vietnam, what are we to make of the following recently released White House tape? In it, LBJ and McNamara discuss the second Gulf of Tonkin attack before it takes place, as though they are planning on it.
At base. Now, this is an action that we might well wish to consider after the second attack, but I think it would be inappropriate, General Wheeler agrees and Dean Rusk agrees, inappropriate to provide the task force commander that authority. There will be ample time for us after a second attack to bring this problem to your attention, and you can then decide how far you wish to pursue the attacker into his base area.
But I wish we could have something that we've already picked out and just hit about 3 of them damn quick right after.
We will have that, and I talked to Mac Bundy a moment ago and told him that I thought that was the most important subject we should consider today, and be prepared to recommend to you a response, a retaliation move against North Vietnam in the event this attack takes place within the next 6 to 9 hours. And
now we better do that at lunch. There's some things I don't want to go in with these other. I want to keep this as close as I can, so let's just try to keep it to the 2 or 3.
I will be prepared to do so at lunch.
Nếu quân Mỹ
On the night of August 4th, the United States made public the so-called Gulf of Tonkin incident. But the story was a fabrication created by the U.S. National Security Council. Even as the National Security Council met, American aircraft were being sent to destroy several areas of our country. In reality, the second Gulf of Tonkin incident never happened.
The whole basis of this war was a fraud and a lie perpetrated at the highest levels of our government. Remember that as we survey the damage that was done to ourselves and especially to Vietnam.